Hello guys, so today we are going to be doing this animation in After Effects inspired by Julian Alborna. I hope you enjoy it. Assets and project file are in the description down below. Let's do this.
Okay guys, so I already have in here my composition and the assets that I need, and we are going to start by doing our background, and our background is very simple. I use two different paper textures that you can get down below, like I mentioned, and these are the ones that I'm going to use. So I'm going to scale them down and I'm going to show them to you. So this is the first one and this is the main one. The top one, what I like to do is just to go in here and lower the opacity, and also do another thing, which is toggle this if you can see the modes. And I'm actually going to choose multiply, and so both textures blend in way better. Okay, I want to create extra texture so you can see the before and after. And this is pretty much our paper. I'm just going to click on both of them and click in pre-comp, and this is going to be our background. So we have our background, and I'm going to be doing in here another folder, which is going to be the pre-comps. And so we are going to throw our background in there. Okay, so this is the first thing. And now we are going to be adding already the effects on top of our compositions, so we have a better feeling already for the style. I don't like to do it at the end. So let's start by creating a couple of adjustment layers. So the first one is going to be called just blur, and then the second one is going to be vignette, and then we are going to also have one more, which is CC, which stands for color grading. So let's add this last one as CC. Okay, in the blur we are going to add a Gaussian blur, and we are going to also add a noise. So noise, we are going to uncheck this so we don't have like noise with color, because if you see it in here, if I'm adding it, yeah, so I don't want color. And the amount is going to be very slow, so just 8. And on the Gaussian blur, it's also going to be quite low, like 8.5. Um, and so, and here, what we can do to have this working is, first, I am going to create a mask with the ellipse tool. And so we just have to double click and it will create the mask for us. And I'm going to invert it. So I'm going to double click here and I'm going to one of the corners and I'm going to click shift and also command or control and put this a little bit smaller. Okay, like this. Click enter. And the other thing that we're going to be doing is obviously fading this a little bit better, so it's not so strong. Okay, so the same mask we are going to use on the vignettes. So just paste it. And what we are going to add in our vignette is obviously CC vignette. So V, here it is. And the amount is going to be around like 73. So it doesn't go like, doesn't bleed in so much on our image. And if you want it a little bit darker, the other thing that you can do is just duplicate it. So Control D or Command D if you are on a Mac, and adjust it at your liking. I'm going to lower this in here, but make it a little bit darker. I think like this looks nice to me. And the last thing is our color grading. So in our color grading, we are going to use two effects. So the first one is going to be the tint effect, which we are going to leave it at default. And the last one is going to be the three tone effects. And I'm going to change this color to a slightly lighter color. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to paste the one that I'm choosing in here. You can also just copy. Let's make sure that our background is at 3D, okay? And our null as well. And one last thing is change the animation to classic animation. Okay, after we change the classic, I just noticed that I actually want our background to pop a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is actually go to this paper and I'm going to add these two effects. So a brightness and contrast, and just set to 1 and minus 100, and our levels just set it exactly like me, and you can see like it's a big different. It just makes our background pop way more. So okay, so we have those done. We now have a completely different background, as you can see in here. And the last thing before we keep going is when you copy the mask, do not forget to see if it is inverted, so it is doing the right thing, as you see in here. Now it is correct, our vignette. Okay, so now that we have classic 3D on and everything is working, we are now going to start animating our brain. One thing that you have to keep in mind is that when you bring 3D models, it only works at advanced 3D. So what we need to do is actually create a composition for our brain. Now, what we can do is drag our composition into here. And one thing that I'm going to do is just put it in the position, and I'm going to animate it right in here into its own layer. So just position and rotation. So Shift R to bring the rotation and the position. And I'm just going to click the stopwatch, and I'm going to bring this in front. No, actually not just yet, because I want to change our rotation, because I know that I want our brain to stop like so at 90. And let me just bring the scale, because I think I wanted it to be smaller in the beginning, because we are going to zoom in after. So we have it like this. And so now this is our final position. So I'm just going to bring it so. And now we are going to first do the rotation. Going to probably do it like so, like starting in a quite different position, like let's say like this, and then it needs to start from here, obviously. So it just comes in and it locks in the right place. Okay, so we need to click U again. So we just have what we actually animated. So let's use motion tools. Make sure it's at 50. Just click in here in the X. And now we are going to our ramp. If you are not seeing the ramp like I am, just go in here and click edit speed graph. And now what we are going to do is just select this and put it like so. And select this last ones and just put it like this. So it goes fast in here and then it slows down at the end. Let's see how it looks. Okay, so it's very slow just because, let's click U to bring our keyframes, because it needs to end a little bit sooner. There we go, smooth and beautiful. Here is our brain animated, and if we go back, obviously it's naturally animated as well in here. And so what we are going to do now is do that zooming right in here. Just make sure our brain is 3D in here. Okay. Okay, here it is. And now what we're going to do is just click P to bring our position. And I am going to leave it this one in here. And right before, I want it like in here, before we end our animation, I want to have a zoom in, okay? And one thing to keep in mind is I want to bring to do like a parallax effect. So I want our brain to actually be more in front, like so. And so as you see, when we zoom in, we are going to now like zoom in. It is different. As you can see, it doesn't zoom in as much as our background, which is a nice effect that we can also add. So obviously we are going to need to zoom in a little bit more, like so. And then we just copy this keyframe, we put it around here, so it has like a little stop. And then at the end, we then go to the sides, where we leave our brain in here at the sides, at the lower and in here, before our text comes in. So now we just make sure we click in here and we click in here, and now everything is smooth. So we have it like so, and then we have it like so. You are obviously free to adjust our brain as you want. So now for the sake of time, I'm just going to copy the text that I have from the composition that I created. And so my text is this. I'm going to click U just to bring the position because it's a little bit different. I'm going to teach you how I animated this. This text, I actually used a preset that After Effects already has. So I'm going to do in this first layer so you can see it. So I'm just going to delete the animator that we have in here, okay? I'm going to delete it, and I'm actually just click normally in the layer, Control Shift and write typewriter. Typewriter, and as you can see, like we have our, just click U, and here it is. So I'm just going to make sure that it starts and it ends way faster, like so. The only thing that we need to adjust is, as you can see, like now it is with opacity, because I actually animated the opacity of the layer itself. But if you want, if let's say that we didn't have the opacity from outside, as you can see, like it's just coming in without any opacity, the text. You can change that. We can just go into here, go into advanced, and we smooth out, and we ease in as well. And by easing in, as you can see, did you see that? Here, the opacity. So you can also do the opacity like this, okay? I'm just going to move them so they start to come in as soon as we go to the sides. Perfect. First one is done, and now we are going to do the animation where we go up. So what we do first is zoom out. That's the first thing that I do. So I just zoom out. So we have our zoom out, and I'm going to go further. Click in my node, click Shift and up arrow, up arrow in your keyboard, so it goes a little bit faster. And I want to go until like around here. And so we have our animation. So it just comes in, goes like this again, like this, and it goes up. The only thing that we can do is make it a little bit faster. So I'm just going to make it a little bit faster. If we want, we can adjust these keyframes depending on if you wanted to start like slower, if you wanted to start more slowly. I want to bring these two keyframes up actually, because I don't want them to stop. I want it to like go, just go. The difference? It just directly goes. Okay, so we have our second animation, and now just like before, what we need to do is to add our brain, our heart, if it is our heart, to its own specific composition, and we make comp size, all good. Okay, here it is. Just make it smaller. And so when we go into here, we can add our heart, and we need to make sure that it's 3D. Okay, right now it's not in the correct position, and we definitely need to make it smaller. We can make the composition itself smaller, like so. And so to achieve the effect from this one, which we have it in this color, what we need to do, it's actually making sure that we had another, we make this another composition, because as you can see, we cannot use effects directly on a 3D model. We need to first pre-compose. We click like heart, and then we can add our effects, which the first one that I want to add is a fill effect. And so now we have this. And then the other ones that I know that I'm going to be using is the tint and the tree tone, exactly the same as our CC, okay? Just the same colors. So we have this effect. Right now, it is very hard to see, but we are going to add the shadows, so it's going to look really good, okay? So now what we need to actually do is to animate it coming in, okay? And to do that, we just need to go into P again. It's the same thing, stopwatch. So this is where it's going to stop, and it's going to stop a little bit at the end, and it's going to start in here, okay? So when we go in, this needs to come sooner. So we see the animation happening already, okay? All right. So we come in and we see it coming in, okay? Like so. The last thing to do is to use easy ease. So just click in here, and here we have it. Once again, let's make sure our heart is actually, and what we need to do is, okay, so it is above our background. And so because of that, we need to compensate and make it a little bit smaller. The other thing is I want to rotate our heart. In the other one, we rotated our heart. So I'm just going to open it up, and I'm going to bring the rotation and just, find the position that I enjoy it, like so. Looks a bit better. I like this one. And so we have our heart coming in. And so the next thing that we are going to do is actually start adding our shadows and making sure it is looking way more like our last result. So the way to do that, the first thing that we need to do is add tint effects, and then also a tree tone. And we are going to change this tree tone to something this, so it looks a little bit similar to our background. And now I want to add the shadow. So the shadow, actually what we need to do is to go inside of our composition and make sure we pre-comp this. Okay, so it's now pre-comped, and we duplicate it because this layer under, it's going to be our shadow. So we need to add a fill, and our fill is going to be black. And I'm going to disable this one, the first one, so you can see the shadow, the fake shadow. And we are going to add an effect, another effect to it, which is going to be called radial fast blur. And here it is, it's starting to have the effect that we want. But what we need to do is click in here and just put it like on top, kind of like that, and increase this. And now we can see our shadow starting to pop. Here it is. This is a little bit too dark for me, so I'm just going to click T and lower the opacity. And so now when we go to our main composition, we can now see our nice radial shadow. And so the last thing that we need to do is actually add the little dots. So in order for us to add the dots, I'm going to actually add our texture in here, which is this one. It's going to be down in the description below. So just put it in here. I'm going to make it smaller. And I'm going to toggle this and make sure I put it in here. And now I want to be multiplied. and I want to add it like so. And one last thing that I'm going to do, I'm actually going to make this a little bit bigger for now. Okay. And now I just want to make sure that it's in the dark parts. So what we're going to do is add another effect, which is called extract. And so now I want to make sure our black points are like so, but this is actually just leaving it in the white areas. So we want to invert it. And now I want to make sure that it's a little bit softer. So I'm going to soften this around here, and this is going to be around like 106. And now this is looking exactly like we want, but we lost our brain. So what we're going to do is actually to duplicate this, put it down in here. I'm going to take out this effect. You can also delete from here. You can delete the tint and the tree tone because we can hide this one, this layer. And now we just have again our brain, and this is just our shadow with the dots because this is working as a mask. If we turn it on, the mask just goes away, but we don't need it. Okay, so this is how you can achieve this effect. And what you can see in here, this is giving us a bit of a problem. And what we can do is actually um, put the same exact effect that we put it in our background in our image texture, in our dot image texture. So just put it in there and expands the right side and maybe the down side a little bit, and the left side doesn't need so much because this is quite heavy on your computer usually. So just make sure that it's enough to cover what you need in the animation. So in here we are going to need more on the right side. Okay, and here it is. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we just have to do the same exact thing to our heart, which is going to be in here. Okay, so I'm going to click in here in our heart, duplicate it, and make sure that I duplicate also this texture, put it in here, but naturally the mask is going to be parent to our heart in here. And so we have already our effects, but we need to add the shadow inside. So I'm just going to click and double click, make sure we add the radial fast blur. And this already has a fill, so we just need to change the fill color to black. And now our radial, I'm gonna put it in here. It's going to create the same effect. Okay, and like so, and lower it quite a lot. And so now you should see this. Let me delete this and duplicate it like this again. Okay, just add our extract. And so now we have it done also in our heart. It's looking quite nice. So we just have a few more steps, which is adding our text and adding the little frame. You can take it out from the web. I have it in here already prepared. Go inside. And this is just some lines that I picked online, which are vectors because they are from Illustrator. And so we just need to move them. But for me, I'm just going to eyeball it because I already have it in a composition. All right, so this is looking good. So just click T and lower the opacity because this is quite strong. And so one last thing that I want to add inside our lines is actually a turbulence displacement that I already have on mine. So you just have to add it like you add normally. And I'm going to show you what it actually does. So you can see in here that our lines were quite straight. And so by adding the turbulence displacement, it has like a little waves, which makes it a little bit more realistic when you like draw with a pencil. And this is the effect that it creates. And I'm actually going to use the same exact effect in our text. So I'm going to come in here. Oh, wait. First, I need to make sure that I put my layer as a 3D layer. Toggle again, 3D layer, and now just put it in place. We are going to paste in here in our tree text the same effect. So just paste it. And as you can see, I'm going to, yeah, you see the slight difference? Just makes it look a little bit nicer. I like this effect. The last thing that I want to do is maybe play with the opacity of the lines, or also bring them in and then adding the text. And I'm going to actually just do an opacity. So it's going to be like this in here. But when we are in here, I don't want it. I want it to be even in here. So I just want them to appear around here or so. So I'm just going to, yeah, should be good. You can always easy ease this. So around 50, and it's going to come in and appear with our heart. And so the last thing that we want to add is obviously our text, and one last thing in our animation, which is the slight zoom in throughout the animation. So just go back to our null, U, and just add the zoom in. So it's too much. Just going to drag this out. Cool, I like it. One last thing, guys, I just saw that our texture is not moving, and we want to make sure that the texture is also 3D, okay? So this is 3D and this is 3D. And now just make it smaller. We need to adjust the size again, move it, okay? And the same goes in this one. Perfect. Okay. So the last thing is our text, which again, I'm going to just copy the text and I'm going to tell you exactly how I animated each layer, because they come in differently. So this one is a little bit different than before, which is changing just the position and the opacity. This next one is just position and opacity as well, but without the typewriting. And this one, it's the exact same thing that we did in the other text in here at the bottom. It just appears from the side with some opacity. That's it. I just save it to a preset, but it's the same. And the darkest, I'm going to show you exactly what I did. So you just have like opacity and a position. So we can do that. I'm going to P and U, and also the not U, T. So position and opacity. It's going to be in here. And in by like here, you just put like the position up and the opacity up as well. And here it is. That is the only thing that we need to do. Just is, and it comes in. Okay, same thing goes for the emotions, but instead of being from down up, it goes from the sides. And so this side is the same thing. So the only one that you really need to know how to do is how to make this effect. And for that, just go into the text. So it's going to be like this, and you are going to add click animate, add position, and then here add property, and I'm going to go to opacity. And so the first thing that I want this animation to start from the bottom, so I just do something like this, and I lower all the way down the opacity. And now I'm going to click here, animate this, so the offset, so just click the time watch, make sure it sets -100, and then go in front and make sure it's all the way to 100. And so now go to advanced and change this to ramp up, and easy in something like this, and is easy low to 100%. And so now, as you can see, it's working properly. So this is how you actually achieve that. And you can just change it, and you can just save it as a preset to always have it. Okay, so yeah, this is how you do it. And now we just need one last thing, which is adding motion blur, and also the effects from going to focus to unfocus and then focus again. And so for that, we need to do just two things. So first, make sure all of them have motion blur. So just click this. And as you can see in here, it already has this motion, you see? So it blurs out naturally. So just let's save it. But we still need to go from focus to unfocused, and what we can do in that is actually, I already have it as a preset, but I'm going to show you how to achieve it. So just go to new adjustment layer, going to call this blur, and here it is, our effects. And so these are the keyframes that I already put it. So you just need to put a keyframe first in 0, then just go a little bit in front and add another keyframe with around the value of 15, as you can see in here, 15, and then go a little bit again, put like at 4 or 5, and then again at 15, and then at the end another 0. Make sure these two keyframes are eased in, so just click 50. And so now let's see the effects. Looking good. And then in here, and it will have again once we go into here. Blurred, blurred, and good. Perfect. And yeah, this is pretty much how you achieve the same style as Julian Alborna. If you want project files, once again, they are going to be in the description down below. With that said, let's keep editing.